Hello, I'm Jason. So I'm going to introduce you to a new portal that we've been building. First of all, I'm the IT manager, so a lot of my job is looking after the systems at Dyalog. So one of the things that I do is I turn things like that into things like that. Much easier to manage like that. One of the other, you want to go see the mess? There you go. Does that work all the time? I can do that for 30 minutes. But I don't just help out internally at Dyalog. One of the other things that I do is try and make your lives easier as well. So how many people here will use something other than a Windows 32-bit Dyalog APL? Quite a few. Okay, so you'll all be aware that getting hold of it is not particularly easy at the moment. We're about to change that. Today, you may now go to My Dyalog. So you can now go to my.dyalog.com and you'll be presented with this page. You can log in with your DSS credentials. I have a demo account.
Can I just interrupt a sec? Please, when Jason says you can do it now, please give him the bandwidth.
Yeah, give me the bandwidth for this. And there we go. So, first of all, we still have the latest news on here as you did in DSS. I have currently truncated it to when we release version 14, but we will be adding to that over time. So any latest news, patches, so on that we add will come into this list. Any important patches that we do will have a banner at the top to say that this has been patched and you should really do this. Currently we don't have DFS on here, and that's partly due to reasons that Morten went into earlier. But if you have it, shout at us and we'll try and do it. All the fixes that were on DSS are still here under fixes. You can see we've got absolutely no outstanding issues for 14.0, so yay, we can be here and relax a little bit. And we can go through and see all the others. 13.2, we've got a couple, and we can see what we've fixed as well. Under the downloads, we have Dyalog, and you can see here that I have a 32-bit Windows version 14. I can still get to the old versions, and there they are. However, I don't want a 32-bit Windows. I can already get that. So if you want a 64-bit Linux version, for example, what you would do now is you would pick up the phone to Dyalog, and you'd speak to Karen. Sorry? Or you can email Karen. And say, please, Karen, can I have a 64-bit Linux version? And also, while you're there, could I be on the beta program as well? Okay? And what Karen will do, magically, behind the scenes, is tick a few boxes, and with a drum roll, there we go. So we can now download. I'll not actually click them because the bandwidth here is, this will destroy me. But you can now download the 64-bit Linux. Because I asked for 64-bit, I'm also entitled to 32-bit. So you can now download those. So anything you're entitled to should show up here. And if it doesn't, let us know and we can solve it. So we're able to now easily distribute versions other than Windows 32-bit. And again, I can still see the old versions, so I'm entitled to those as well. You'll also notice that the menu always stays at the top here, so I can always get to that regardless of how far down I've scrolled, which is very useful. I'm going to skip over to patches here. So you've possibly all seen the patch page on dss.dyalog.com. We've changed it very slightly. The text is mostly the same at the top, but the table is much more readable, and we've hidden everything that isn't the current version that we've just released. You can, however, still get to them. Again, press the button, and it's all there. If we Karen, do we have beta access? We do. So if we go back here, I've now got a show beta version. So if you've been enrolled in the beta program, how many people here have been on our beta program before? Yeah, so quite a few. So we had a different URL. It's now in the same place, and we can show betas. Now, it says 14.1 beta. I've just thrown that in. It doesn't actually exist. These links do nothing, but I wanted to show you this. So you get a nice warning to say, these are in beta, and they come under a non-commercial license as a result. Under the tools, this is different from the tools on our main website. This is things like our .NET interface that we ship with Dyalog APL, and this is updates that we do to those tools. So we have the .NET interface here, and we have communications tools. If you intend to use RIDE, you will need those files. Jonathan will go into that more later, I believe. Again, Conga, we've got the latest version of Conga for you to download here. Currently, we don't have the AIX versions on here. The reason we don't have the AIX versions on here is because there's so many versions of it, it would take up this entire page. So please ask us if you want one of those. I'm going to skip over this one. I'll let Jonathan deal with that one later, but it is there and it does work. The help page is just information the same as it is on dss.dyalog.com. This may change over time, make it easier for you. Please let us know if there's anything you want in here. You can do that under My Account page. You can give us feedback here. This will send me an email, so be polite. Also, for the first time since we have had a DSS access, you may change your password on DSS yourself. You do not have to email us or phone us. You can do it yourself now, which is, I find great. I can change my password. It also tells me what I'm entitled to. So I can see that I'm entitled to a Windows 32-bit. I'm not entitled to Windows 64-bit. And I'm entitled to a Linux 64-bit and 32-bit. It also says here I'm enrolled in the beta program, and I'm entitled to older downloads as well. The other thing that I have done here is there's a Remember Me button for those like Morton that will ask me every 10 minutes what his password is. And if you've forgotten your password, you can press Forgot Password, and you can have a new one emailed to you as well. So you no longer have to speak to us to get a new password or so on. We're not trying to not speak to you. We're just trying to make things easier for you to do. So if you forget your password at 3 o'clock in the morning when you've got a presentation, you can still access it. Is there any questions on this as it stands?
What's the site again?
At my.dyalog.com.
Hello. These fixes,
Yeah.
why there is no possibility to be sorted by date or by number or by title? It's you know, I don't know how they're putting there.
That might be a question for Andy.
Yes. Anything is possible, Marco. I mean, one of my thoughts is actually rather than even putting the date out that they released is to put the SVN revision number so you can tell which version of the interpreter the patch was actually put into in the first place, which may be more useful. So, yes, I'll totally take that one on board. The other thing that we are going to do is, for the patch page, rather than having to download 4 separate files, 2 for the executables and 2 for the DLLs, we're going to create effectively a file called all.zip. So you'll end up with one file that's got all 4 patch files in it. That will be done as soon as I get a couple of hours to do a bit of coding and have a word with Jason.
So I have a request and a question. So the request is on your page where you do the downloads.
Yep.
Okay, if you have a, like, I'll call it a co-requisite. So, for example, 14.0 would require a new version of the .bridge.
Yep.
Is there a way to have that on some kind of comment so that we get an idea that we need to
if you
remember
download a
to do that?
14.0 here, it will come with the .NET Bridge that will work with it. Okay. On the tools page, does say you'll need this interpreter to use this .NET Bridge.
Okay, and my question is on your on your My Account.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're a corporate account. We have one person that has a password to get in, but we've obviously shared that
Yeah,
with other
obviously,
members
yeah.
of the group. Okay, what email do you have on file as the on your
that
forgot
will-
password?
That will be a question for Karen.
Okay.
I noticed on downloading, in the past you had to delete your prior version. Is that still the case?
Yeah,
You don't see that up there.
That's nothing to do with this. That's all to do with the way it's installed on your system and so on. So I have nothing to do with that, I'm afraid. But,
So just list what's available and not how to do it.
that's right. I mean, we can extend that. We can add a bit of documentation in
Because
here.
I've been several times, I tried to download something and said, oh, heck, I forgot to delete the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, we can certainly add some documentation on here. The idea of this is to keep it as clean as possible so that you know exactly where to go to download things.
I think it might be worth showing everyone the resizing, because unlike the website, which is fixed width, this one resizes and it's really cool.
Well, that's what I was trying to do with this. But if I'll pull this off, and the website does work on your tablet. If I sign in, so it does work on your tablet. You get a slightly different menu. Unfortunately, it's not coming up on the screen. The menu, if I can press the button, there we go. The menu just slides down, and you can then select the item there. So it does all fit on your screen. You can look at everything on these as well. It also works on your mobile phone, with the exception of the iPhone 3 and 3S, because the screens are just too small. Again, on the desktop, it will automatically resize, if I can find the corner of my screen. And the menu will spring into this. So this is the same view as you get on your mobile, and you can then view the fixes and so on. So that's very useful if you're looking out for a fix and you're on your tablet or mobile phone. The other thing to note is I have done work on this to make sure it works on Internet Explorer 8. So those that are restricted to that, you are still able to use this.
Is that a my site? Has it been built with my server?
Unfortunately, it hasn't. Because this is running on our main web server, which hosts a number of our websites, we've had to write it so that it has Apache. It runs through Apache. So we're still working on getting Apache to talk nicely to my server once we've got all of that working properly, nicely. And Brian has given me my server 3. We may change this to my server. But the site that you see will stay the same, regardless of what the backend language is.
Are you going to say something about My Dog Being Live? What is the interaction with that and DSS at the moment?
Yes, for those of you in this room, you can stop using dss.dyalog.com to download APL. You can now use this, and you can download everything on here that you could on dss.dyalog.com. If you can't, please let us know, because that should be the case. And I think at some point we will probably forward dss.dyalog.com to this, but that's a question of time when we're happy that this is definitely working. So your feedback would be really appreciated on this to make sure it's all working.
But the point is that dss.dyalog.com will carry on working,
Yes,
and we will
absolutely.
continue updating it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to be honest, the point is the files that you click on are actually the same file.
Well, the file that populates this list here is the exact same file as dss.dyalog.com. So it's pulled from exactly the same file from the same place on disk. So everything should be the same. Is there any more questions? No? Okay. How long have I got? I've got another few minutes. Quite a few minutes yet. Do a dance.
This will be another request. So in the DSS messages that we get, the emails,
Yeah.
could we then have a link in there that gets us directly to here? So
We
you
should be
blast
able
us
to.
an email, and then we can patch it right away.
We should be able to do that, yeah.
Okay.
The only downside of that is whether your spam filter decides it's spam because it's got so many URLs in it. That's just a risk we always take. When we send out the email, when you get a particular educational license, over time we have taken more and more URLs out of those emails to make sure they don't get caught by spam filters. So we can try it, but you then need to tell us if you're not getting the emails, because we don't know you're not, but it may be because we're now considered spam because it's got multiple URLs in it.
Okay. Well, if that's all of that, then please feel free to have a look at it and have a play. Send me some feedback. I will be checking my emails throughout the conference as well, but not quite as much as I will be when we're back. Okay, thank you.